welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic. Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Legacy at the request of Patreon subscriber Simcha. And this is a brew of his design built around Flare of Denial. I tried to build around Flare of Denial last week on the channel. In my Splinter Twin video, I tried to give it a Flare of Denial support package, and it was not good. So let's hope this is a redemption arc for the card Flare of Denial in a deck that is trying to do a little less, and it's a little more focused on doing this. Unconditional counter spells are good. Just counter target spell is the rules text on this card. And then you can sacrifice a non-token blue creature to cast it for free. If you just have mana open, it's just cancel. 1 blue counter target spell. Easy. The blue creatures in this deck to support Flare of Denial: 3 Tamios, 1 Snapcaster Mage, 2 Baleful Strix, 4 Psychic Frog, 4 Icefang Coatl, 2 Harbinger of the Seas, and Murktide Regent. Lots of blue creatures here. Some are happier to sacrifice than others. Tameo, sacrificing it might unlock a redundant legendary copy in our hand. Snapcaster Mage has probably already been worth a card. Strix and Coatl already worth cards. Psychic Frog, one of the highest value cards in the Legacy format right now. I hope we don't have to sacrifice this, but if we need to, it's because we needed to, right? And this also may have drawn 1 or more cards before I have to sacrifice it. Harbinger of the Seas. I added this to the main deck. This was not in Simcha's build, but we're already playing a bunch of basics to support Icefang Coatl, and Eldrazi is big in the format right now. I like it. I like having a cheeseball lock piece in the main that's also on theme and also just pretty good. Another thing that I did was I moved 2 of the Force of Wills to the sideboard. With 4 Flare of Denial, I don't think we need 4 Force of Will. 8 ways to counter spells on a 2-for-1 basis is a lot of 2-for-1s in our deck, or 1-for-2s, as the case may be. The 2-for-1s go in the wrong direction. We can board in these Force of Wills if we're against a turbo combo matchup where we need them. But a lot of fair matchups, and even Scam, we don't actually want Force of Wills in the deck. Eldrazi has Cavern of Souls, and we only have Harbinger of the Seas to turn that off. It just felt like too much when we could have other role-playing cards in the deck. And that's a decision I made. Basically, this is just a bug mid-range deck. We're trying to stick something like Tameo or Psychic Frog that is a steady source of card advantage, and we're trying to protect it until the opponent dies. Fair Magic like this, kind of not great right now because Eldrazi hits like a truck and Rescaminator is still legal at the time of this recording. But we're going to try to make it work. You can grind through those decks, and Harbinger of the Seas helps a lot against Eldrazi. I also have Consigned to Memory in the sideboard. If you can stop the big stupid stuff that Rescaminator does, even if you can't stop the Atraxa from coming into play, if you can do something like block it with Baleful Strix or Icefang Coatl and just remove the 7-power creature enough times, that could be enough to win a game. We definitely have grind. We have nice, well-rounded answers to stuff: Shoulder's Edict, Fatal Push, Assassin's Trophy, a bunch of counter spells, a bunch of card advantage 2-for-1s. It's super fair. I like it. We'll see if it holds up. This is Simcha's Bug Flare. I'm on the play in round 1. I've got an Island and a Ponder. My opponent's username is Correct LED, which I know I've played against because I make the joke every time. Like, are they actually a LED Storm deck or LED combo deck of some kind? 3 lands is basically exactly what I wanted to see off of this Ponder. I will keep these. Trying to stick a Frog. Underground Sea. Grief. Alright. Boring, but legal. If they take the Frog and then reanimate taking Fatal Push, then Grief is just in play. Frog is gone. They've passed the turn. I'm going to play the Polluted Delta they know about and pass back. Them reanimating my Frog would be pretty powerful. They cycled a Troll of Khazad-dûm, Underground Sea in the grip. You've got a Frog. I've got a Frog. I don't have a Frog, though. Why did I say that? I'm confused. Okay, I'm gonna push this Frog in the end step. And I am gonna get a basic Swamp. There are aspects of my deck that care about that. Push that Frog. Tamiyo is a pretty good draw here. It's a thing I can put into play. And if they're over there operating on reanimates and griefs and trolls and stuff, I can fight over those while having a card advantage station ready to do stuff. I can't force and flare here. I only have the one blue card, which is flare, and I only have the one blue creature, which would leave force with a blue card. But there's still only one counterspell being represented. Another frog. I think I want to force of will this frog, and then save Assassin's Trophy, or... No, I guess it's the same, right? I have two answers in my hand, one way or the other. Coatl. Okay. I'm going to attack with Tamiyo. That gives me a clue token. They +1 counter on frog. They could give it +2 and then jump it and block Tamiyo, but I have Assassin's Trophy in my hand. Okay, I will kill this now. And they're fetching in response. Suddenly need Undercity Sewers. Before the shuffle. Okay, now the card they just surveilled to the top, they either don't get a basic or don't get that card. That was a weird sequence, and I'll take it. I think they forgot I had that. Like, they saw the trophy on the grief. It was in my opening hand. That's interesting. Or they're playing 3D chess that I don't understand just yet. Now I have Forest Blue card and Denial Blue creature, and I don't mind playing any of them. I think I actually do want to fetch a basic island and play the Coatl main phase. This would let me hit a land drop, and we got there. Cool. I could have popped Clue to flip Tamiyo, but I like the card advantage station here, just chugging out clues. They shuffled their Ponder. Animate Dead targeting Troll. I'm going to flare that, sacking my Coatl. That was a good exchange, all in all. I also could have let that resolve and just snap trophied. Okay, daze, just aggressively dazing to get another surveil, that's fine. And they've already made their land drop for the turn. And we're getting pretty good deals left and right here. Attacking for a clue. I'll eat one of these clues. I could eat another one, flip Tamiyo. Do I think flipping Tamiyo is better than having Tamiyo attacking? I think so at this point. I'll take it. Tamiyo's awake, Harbinger of the Seas in my hand. I can fetch my basic forest and plus Tamiyo. Okay, we're getting control of this situation. There's the sewers we knew about, one unknown in the hand. And they scooped it. Yeah, that 4/1 we got off of Psychic Frog was pretty insane. I was worried about that frog taking over the game, and they got a little too aggressive. This deck does play enough basics to play around Harbinger. I like Carpet, I like Veil. Surgical's fine. I do not like Force of Will. Flare of Denial, I will give a chance to. Leovold is pretty good. Pernicious Deed is good against their Juke. But I have a lot of removal in the deck, so I'm not going to bring in Deed. Okay, 6 cards in, 4 cards out. I need 2 more cuts. Maybe one of the flares does have to go. I just don't like 2-for-1s in the matchup. We got to flare something game 1, count it. Spell Snare, pretty good against all their Juke creatures, the Psychic Frog, Animate Dead. There were 2 of these in the list Tim just sent me, and I cut one for some other legacy card. Had to leave one in out of respect, though, but I think 2 is too many. I actually just think it's another flare. Just all these counter spells are not what I'm looking for. There's still a couple in there. They could come up. I could even bring in Dress Down and cut another flare. I actually think that's correct. I'll leave it alone, though. I'll leave a few in there for content. Whoa, full house. I'll keep. I like the Nile Spellbomb. I like that my hand starts drawing cards like crazy as soon as I find a land. Grief. I might not have a Nile Spellbomb. Have a look. The Grief pitched Reanimate, so they probably have another one of those. They took the bomb. Underground Sea. And they did have another Reanimate to the surprise of no one. And we lose a frog. Now I'm looking for a land. A Surgical Extraction, right on time. It wouldn't have stopped last turn anyway, because that's how busted Grief is. Undercity Sewers. Into Scalding Tarn. I don't have any Surveil lands in this deck. The mana, like, balancing a high basic count is really difficult in this format. Reanimate, nah-uh-uh. I will extract this frog. And no other frogs, just this one. You don't have to remove them all, but I will still take that 1-for-1 counterspell on the reanimate. Oh no, 4 of a kind. Normally that's a good hand. Grief's coming in. We still have plenty of time to figure this out, but the clock is ticking. Fatal Push, all right. I hate how open to Wasteland I am. I think I have to get a non-basic. And I'm going to take 3 to see if they have Wasteland. And I'll just zap in the end step. Okay. Fetching in the end step. I think I have to get Underground Sea. Yeah. It didn't play a land at all, which might mean they're sandbagging Wasteland so I don't fetch basics, or it might mean they don't have it. They had the Daze, but that was always going to get me. At least we got a good exchange in there end step. Land? Oh no! Tropical Islands betrayed me. Yeah, there's not a Bayou in the deck that I could have fetched there. Not that I ever would, but this was just RNG, tough beats. This card is still really good, though, if I can put it on the stack. I did keep a 1-lander. I deserve this. Brainstorm from the opponent. Grief puts me to 5. Don't have a lot of time left. They did not play the Sewers, probably because they just put it back in their deck. And Psychic Frog, terrifying. Mine's bigger than theirs if I can put it into play, and that's not going to do it. All right. Well, I could have mulliganed that hand, and I didn't, so whatever. Okay. I think Dress Down is better than Flare of Denial. Now that we're down a game, I'm going to quit goofing around. And I'm going to press the submit button. This is my deck. Yep, basic lands will do this to you. 1 basic, doesn't cast my Ponder and Brainstorm, I'm going to have to mulligan. All right, this one I'll keep. Keep and put away Underground Sea. I just don't want to have to play that card. We both went to 6. I'm going to Ponder off of a basic island. There is a green source and some more stuff to do. I'm going to put the Trop in my hand and hide the Ponder on top. If I get scammed, I would prefer my spells to be on top of my deck rather than in my hand when that happens. A Psychic Frog is the best card in my hand, but we're playing against a Daze deck. I'm going to play the Tropical Island and go on Ice Fang Coatl. Okay, hope they don't have Bowmaster, a card that has kind of fallen out of favor, but does still see some play. They fetched in response and immediately punished. If I had done this in the upkeep, the Bowmaster would have been less good. It's still good, but that's why these Coatls and Strix kind of cards don't see a lot of play anymore, because they're just so bad versus Orcish Bowmaster. Okay, I drew more of those. I'm going to go for Frog here. It's just really big. Brainstorm. Fetch land. Cycling Troll. Alright. Got an Underground Sea. Fetching the Polluted Delta. I'm ready to trophy a Troll. Yeah, that's just 6 life you're not getting back. Tameo. Green-black. Zap the Troll. Do they have a basic to tutor for? They usually play some. They do have one. I'm willing to discard 2 cards to Frog this turn, so I'm just going to attack. Ponder and Baleful Strix can both go out of my hand. I would not mind. Put a counter on Frog, discarding this Strix. That's gone. Tameo, get in there. Okay, I'm on the board, and they're not on the board. Brainstorm, that could change things. Fatal Push, see you later, Frog. I loved you. Ponder. Another Fatal Push, alright. That was a lot of work, but they got back to stability. Unless I draw a different removal spell, I'm probably going to have to trophy and then cast Ponder this turn. Okay, basic land, trophy. I can play around Daze here, and now I'm less worried about Wasteland. Hope they don't cast a second Bowmaster off of the 2 mana I just gave them. Okay, I actually like this a lot. I can put Surgical Extraction in my hand now, and then draw Psychic Frog next turn. And then I'm drawing a removal spell after that. They're hardcasting Grief. What card do I want out of their deck? Fatal Push, Troll, Bowmaster. I think it's Fatal Push. This will stink if they also have Reanimate in their hand, but Reanimate, Psychic Frog, just the best 2 cards, and were no more Fatal Pushes in the deck. Ay caramba. Yeah, we're friggin' dead. Okay. I was worried about Reanimate, and Psychic Frog is also annoying. I really hope they cast Reanimate instead of Psychic Frog this turn. That would... I think I prefer that, living in that world. They go to 6. Psychic Frog's the card in their hand. I guess their frog can block mine next turn. No, never mind. I'm dead. I can play frog. I'm drawing Fatal Push, which I can't get. Or I could push their frog. Okay. They kept the card on top. We're dead. Yeah, I made a plan as if their hand would be medium or minus, and their hand was completely heckin' bonkers instead, and my plan looks really bad now. Exiling the troll would have played around reanimate the best. There's the frog. They did not shuffle ponder. And this is the exact thing. Like, a lot of people in my comments and in various legacy platforms lately have been like, why is everyone so upset about grief? Isn't force of will the problem with this deck? Isn't daze the problem with this deck? The problem is that grief, we saw it pitch in the first 2 games on turn 1 or 0 to collapse my hand. That's one thing it does. Then we saw it just cast for 4 mana this turn, and then they kept casting spells because the game just went long. Giving Combo Reanimator this bridge, this aggressive, evasive, 3-power creature at a castable mana value, that's also a 0-cost pitch thing. Like, if Grief was banned today, this deck would not just play Unmask in its place and be just as good. Okay, I'm going to jump my frog and attack. I do get to see another card this turn. Jump my frog and attack. I'm still going to lose. I don't think there's an out here, but I can at least attack. All right, they jumped their frog. Now I push it. I waited, so they committed to exiling 3 cards. Pernicious Deed is not in my deck and wouldn't be good here. Edict, not close to enough. They could just sack Bowmaster and kill me with the other stuff. All right. Yeah, GG. We did put up a fight against the obvious broken legacy deck. I'll count that as a moral victory. On to the next round. This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks, and groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there. I'm on the draw in round 2 against a Yorion deck. I will keep my hand. Yorion could be Death and Taxes. It could be 4 or 5 color Beanstalk. Regardless, it's pretty unpopular right now. Most Yorion decks are bad against Rescaminator. They're on 5 cards. Let's see what happens here. 8 Plains. A Vexing Bauble. Well, that's good against my strategy of casting free counterspells. Okay, I'm actually going to take the turn off of playing Tamiyo to Spell Snare their 2-drop. It's too juicy. I can't say no. Unless they don't play a 2-drop, then I can say no. I can say nothing, honestly. Tamiyo is a legend. I could also brainstorm in response to them bouncing her and then have a Planeswalker, but then it's on 2 loyalty and just sitting there. I think I'm going to take my chances with Ice Fang Coatl. Committing to Ice Fang Coatl leaves the most stuff open here. I could play Baleful Strix in my main phase, but then I have to fetch Basic Swamp. If they Wasteland me, I don't have green or blue mana for a while. Wasteland confirmed. I did not use it, though. Okay, end step, I'm going to fetch a basic island and cast this Coatl. Ice Fang Coatl on the stack. Drew Snapcaster. I'd really like to find another land before they figure out how to use this Wasteland. Uh-oh. Okay. I think I want to just brainstorm off of the tropical island. We did it. All right, found a land. These Flare Denials are almost on. Harbinger is medium minus here. I'm going to get rid of Harbinger. And Tamiyo also not doing much. Yeah, I'm going to put back Harbinger, Tamiyo in that order. That lets me still draw Tamiyo if I decide I don't want to shuffle. And for 1, I could also just shuffle and cast Strix right now, but that leaves down my Spell Snare that I'm just obsessed with using. We did it! We did it! We did it! Spell Snare! Bow, 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 bow! Spell Snare alert in 2024. Sick. Alright, we got him. Might still lose this game, but we did that. Lion Sash. Alright, I mean, that's pretty good against my Snapcaster Mage. But if they eat a card which they did, that gives me a window to just full flip Tamiyo, which makes me... Oh, wait, no. That's not true. I used my Brainstorm already. Maybe Tamiyo's bad. Why did I think I could still do this? All right, I will shuffle. Tamiyo, not helpful. Basic Swamp in the mix. Draw for turn, Trophy. I'm going to play Baleful Strix. I'm not that worried about Lion Sash, just as a individual Magic card. And Death Touch creature does slow it down. I'm glad they mulled to 5, because my hand is super wonky right now. And the fact that they're not really doing anything is the only reason I'm feeling good. Okay, this is a Witch Enchanter played in land mode, making Lion Sash larger. Still no good attacks with it, because Death Touch is busted. Are they ready to waste me yet? Or do they think they need this land? They still think they need this land. Nope, just waited for my upkeep. Which means I can do what? Got Assassin's Trophy. I can Coatl. Yep, that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, if they had just done this on their turn, I wouldn't get this spell. Happy to get a redraw, though. I hope it's a land. Nile Spellbomb, not really for this matchup. Draw for turn, Ponder. Okay. Nile Spellbomb going into play. It's still a cantrip on the slow. And all my creatures are Death Touch now because I have a second Coatl. Pushing that damage. That's sweet, sweet bird damage. Exiling Tropical Island makes Lion Sash 4/4. Plow my Coatl. That lets them attack for 4. Sure. At some point, I feel like they're going to figure out they should be popping this Bauble and getting another card, which will unlock my Flare of Denials, but I'm not really a deck that they need to be worried about a ton of zeros against. I say completely impartially as I just continue to develop free spells in my hand. Attacking with my stuff. I have this Fatal Push. I can handle Lion Sash from here. Exiling Felia from their graveyard will make Sash bigger. They're going after my cards. Okay, I don't like that. Get out of here before you untap again. I am holding a Snapcaster Mage. Land number 4, which they had once and decided to waste me instead. Yorian's in hand with 2 other cards. Basic Swamp, attack for 2, and now we're in Hold Up Flare of Denial on the hardcast mode. Cancel. Activated. My opponent is canceled. And I'm probably just going to pop Spellbomb for the card this turn cycle. Elegant Parlor, red mana revealed. That's probably Magus of the Moon. End step, Spellbomb you. Literally just drawing a card. There's Force of Will. I knew that was there. Now I'm drawing random cards for the first time in a while. Psychic Frog. All right. I like that one. Attack for 2. Psychic Frog, get in there. Causing chaos. Suddenly a real threat. And they have a real answer. Do I care? No. I could trophy the Bauble and then force this, but that's too much. Asking too much of me here. I also just don't care if Yorian resolves, unless they have a land to leave up Caracas when they do it. Oh, they had a Caracas to leave up Caracas when they do it. Okay. I'm going to destroy Vexing Bauble, which unfortunately they get to draw a card when it happens. And then I'm going to force Yorion. Tropical Island. Assassin's Trophy. I'm going to force pitching one of my many flares. They can decide if they'd rather have a Plains here, I guess. It's Plains versus random card. Though if they draw the card and tap Caracas, then I don't need to force Yorion. That's really interesting. I didn't think about that till it was happening. Okay, they got a mountain. Force pitching one of the flares. I have too many of those. Yeah, that was clever. They did think about that and came to the conclusion that they'd rather have the land. Maybe they just have, like, Cauldron in hand, and that's why they wanted the land, and it was nothing to do with tapping out of Caracas. But whatever happened there, it worked out well for them. And I'm holding 3 cancels in my hand. Skyclave Apparition. My creature actually gets bigger if this resolves. I'll just counter it, though. While I still have 2 blue, because they could draw a Wasteland and take me off all these cancels. Fatal Push. Bug versus Death and Taxes. What year is it? Feels like I'm jamming 2014 Legacy right now. It's awesome. Please cast a 2-drop. Let me snap Spell Snare. Flicker Wisp. I don't care about this. Oh, they could flicker this into a 2/2, and it kills Baleful Strix. I do care about this. That's cool. Heads up awareness on that one, because I don't care about 3/1. I do care about Witch Enchanter arriving and suddenly flipping my clock. Okay. Now they are dead on board, and I have the Flare. I can Flare for 3, cast Snapcaster with no flashback, and just attack for 4. They would need some kind of uncounterable spell to get through this. Elegant Parlor. There's a lot of red mana. Into Vexing Bauble. 2-drop, 2-drop, 2-drop. Oh my god! Snap Spell Snare for the win, 2024. Snare, snap, snare. Okay, Pernicious Deed is great here, Leovold's great here. Force of Vigor's probably, maybe. The Vexing Baubles make it weird, but I also mostly don't care about those. Consigned to Memory is really interesting because Death and Taxes is a deck built entirely around triggered abilities. And this can counter stuff like Vexing Bauble and Aether Vial. That's really interesting. I'm going to try it for science. I'm not convinced it's good, but I will attempt it. I think Force of Vigor should be in. Nile Spellbomb doesn't do anything. I don't like Force of Will, especially with them having Vexing Baubles, and I have all these flares to bridge the gap. Tamiyo, we saw that get bricked by Caracas. Harbinger of the Seas. They do play some lands that aren't plains, but they also play a lot of plains. Okay, we're 0 for 2 on main deck Harbinger being a good decision. But we're 2 for 2 on sideboard Force of Will being a good decision. I'm going to keep my hand. It has some answers to stuff. It needs some mana. Just like any kind of mana, basically. Because I can get green or black, but not both. So I need my third color eventually. Tamiyo's in. Caracas is in as well. Yeah, that's fine. I'm Rashad boarding you now. Okay, I found my extra mana. Just gonna try to stick a frog here. There's frog. It's in play. Tamiyo's an easy discard. Plateau. Solitude. Oh my god, Consign would have been so sick. Stifle this trigger after they spend 2 cards on it. They pitch Flicker Wisp to do that. I have another frog and I'll have a mana up, so maybe we'll get the same exchange next turn. Okay. Refrog, and the Consign is ready. And if they had a better answer to this, they wouldn't have just spent 2 cards to Solitude it. But they didn't wish for Yorion, they left up mana instead. Felia. Yeah, that's fine. That can exile my frog and reset the counters every turn. Recruiter of the Guard. I think I'm going to let them have this and then fight over whatever comes out of it. Because if they grab another Solitude here, that's the blowout I'd rather get. But Felia plus Recruiter is pretty busted. I'm going to have to break this up. They don't have a good attack with Felia, though, because Frog is a stupid card. If they attack with Felia, they could exile Frog to push damage, but if they are trying to reflicker the Recruiter, look at that, they did the Solitude. This is probably going to be a completely insane blowout, would be my guess, if I had to make an educated guess. Okay, block. I discard Tamiyo to win the combat. You pitch a card to Solitude, which I counter, and then I kill your Felia. You're down 2 cards, and I'm attacking with Psychic Frog. Okay, Solitude pitching Solitude. They had a lot of those going on. Counter target triggered ability. The one that exiles my thing. How about that? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Feeling crazy. They could Caracas the Felia back. Okay. And there should be another Solitude in the deck if they want to tutor it now and pitch Felia, but this is going to be a lot of cards spent on this little Psychic Frog. Skyclave Apparition. Okay. Ooh, I like Brainstorm. Let's move some stuff around. Edict. Not great. I'm going to put back Forest and Misty Rainforest. And then I'm going to fetch for my Forest. I am going to Edict this. Bonus sacrifices a non-token creature. Because even if this is important to them, like getting rid of the thing I can get rid of when I can get rid of it is important. My Frog draws another land. Now I'm kind of behind. I got a few good exchanges, but we are under the thumb of Big Tutor from the Recruiter of the Guard. But if I had another Consign here, you think they'd concede immediately? I would. Okay. Tamiyo. I'm going to play Prismatic Vista. No, I'm going to play Polluted Delta. I'm going to hold back Vista. Because I have 4 Vistas in the deck, but only 1 basic land left to fetch, and these could get pretty awkward. That Caracas is really powerful. Maybe I should have a Harbinger of the Seas in my deck. Ugh, another Recruiter. All right, we're falling behind. I had a lot of fun on those Solitude turns, but steady whatever they want out of their deck forever is going to shut me down. Stoneforge Mystic. That's a good one. No attacks. Scared of the Snapcaster Mage. They don't want the smoke. Beestorm. Unfortunately, this doesn't really do anything with Tamiyo, because they can bounce it in response. I could trophy the Caracas. Interesting. All right, yeah, I'm going to trophy Caracas. I think this Planeswalker is good enough to play for. Okay, they floated a mana. I'm just going to switch phases. They can play Felia here. That's in Tamiyo, Brainstorm, Consign to Memory, and Flare of Denial. All right, put back the Prismatic Vista. This is what we talked about. And Flare, I'm not going to have a creature. I'm going to put back Prismatic Vista and Flare and leave up Consign to Memory. And then plus, this means they can attack Tamiyo for 2. Okay. I have a Planeswalker. Snuck one of those in. Also, important to remember, Yorion has 2 triggered abilities, one that exiles all your stuff and one that brings it back. Consigning the bring all my stuff back trigger off of Yorion would be wild. Attacking with just Felia. Okay, wow. They're really worried about the... I guess they're just being super careful because Fatal Push would unlock a 2/2 blocker, which would kill Felia. But that happens anyway, so why aren't you attacking? Yeah, that play literally doesn't change. I can't Snapcaster here. Also, I actually have a green instant in my graveyard for Tamiyo, which is really interesting. I'm not going to consign the Stoneforge trigger. I could consign the Kaldra Germ, or I could wait for something even better. Mother of Runes. Okay, Felia. Okay, I can use Consign now to exile Felia forever, or exile the Recruiter forever. Yeah, I don't think I want to keep playing this game. And I do have to get a non-basic here. I'll get Underground Sea, because that's better if they don't Wasteland it. All right, keep that gone. I don't want to see it again. I could have taken that line earlier instead of the Solitude. I could have just taken the trade of Solitude for 2 cards. Okay, they have not Wastelanded me. Ponder, please find a good card. Fatal Push is not a bad card. I could push twice this turn. I could also push Stoneforge Mystic. I don't really want this Flare of Denial. We're too far behind. I could just Ponder 3 times this turn and look for Pernicious Deed to try to really shove it home. Getting rid of a face-up removal spell seems crazy, though. Tamiyo could get back Brainstorm, and then I get multiple good cards here. If I plus Tamiyo, they can attack her for 2. Okay, I think I'm just going to Fatal Push twice. I could shuffle, Ponder, and then decide where I'm going to put Fatal Push. This Tamiyo is so close to useful. Okay, I'm going to fetch, and then I'm going to get back Ponder with Tamiyo. I just need to do more than kill 2 creatures is the problem. Spell Snare, Vista, these aren't it. Shuffle. Looking for something big like Pernicious Deed. Alright, Fatal Push Stoneforge Mystic, because that's the one that's about to kill me. Okay, we're definitely behind, but I think digging for Deed in that spot was right. Like, I killed 2 things, and I'm still behind the other 2 things and the face-up other shit. They didn't Wasteland me. I'll take the counterspell. Sick. Alright. In for 4. There's not any good flickers here. Yep, I take 4. Pernicious Deed. Icefang Waddle. I'm not going to complain about that. I'm also going to main phase it because I have other good cards in my deck, and they have Mother Runes to protect it anyway. Okay, we did it. Found something worth casting in the main phase. They're holding Kaldra and 2 unknowns. They are 1 mana short of Kaldra. They just found a Caracas that can protect Felia. Bouncing out the Skyclave gives me a 2/2 temporarily. I'm going to put that 2/2 in front of Felia, who they're probably going to bounce with Caracas. Yep, okay. I get to keep my 2/2, but I'm going to lose Psychic Frog. Put Yorion in hand. Okay. Yorion, Felia, Cauldra are 3 of the 4 cards in their hand. Still in the market for Pernicious Deed. Sheoldred's Edict. Okay. I'm going to attack with my Ice Fang Coatl. And I'm going to respond to Felia with Sheoldred's Edict. Each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature. You can lose Mother or you can lose Skyclave. Felia can delete tokens like crazy. I think you keep Mother here. But the Skyclave Felia is also a machine gun. Okay, they kept the Skyclave. Elegant Parlor enters tapped, which means they can't Cauldron me this turn. Which means they have something resembling a chance. Yeah, they're just flickering out the illusion token. I take 4, and then Yorion can flicker the Skyclave Apparition. And me without a consign. Yeah, I think I should actually have at least one Harbinger this season to break up their endgame Caracas loops, because they're really good. Apparition's back, takes my Coatl. Oh yeah, right on time. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I don't want them to know that I play Pernicious Deed. They have lethal. Okay. I think I want some Harbingers back. How many to be determined. Counter spells are weak. Tamiyo is weak. I could just do this. And sneaking Planeswalker Tamiyo through is solid. And bringing the Harbingers control the Caracases, which make Tamiyo better. Now we got stuff going on. Yeah, I actually just think counterspells are not good versus Death and Taxes. That is just how I feel. It has nothing to do with it being Flare of Denial. My Force of Wills were out even before the Flares were. Okay, I will keep this hand. Spell Snare, baby. The consigns were great, though. I'm glad I tried those. New Legacy staple, by the way, consigned to memory. If you don't have them yet, you can use my TCG Player affiliate link to buy them. Ooh, Bin Batterskull, that's gone. Harbinger, we've got something of a plan forming here. I have Dress Down and Spell Snare, both of which can interact with cards they might play this turn. Except for Aether Vial, which they do have. Okay. Vial's in. I think I'm actually gonna fetch a basic island and end step Brainstorm here, which is not normally a recommended sequence. They're fetching in response. Okay. I can fetch basic forest with that, which means I can't play Harbinger, but I'm not really going to shove Harbinger into this Aether Vial anyway. If I put back Underground Sea and Brainstorm, I'm just going to redraw Brainstorm this turn and make my land drop. Forest, and I'm going to pass with this stuff available. I do have answers to Aether Vial in my deck. I have Assassin's Trophies, Pernicious Deed, and Force of Vigor. Witch Meadow enters tapped. I'm going to Brainstorm again here. I actually do want that Underground Sea, and then we'll see 2 new cards under it. Force of Vigor, secured. If I put back Brainstorm Force, I can't cast this Force yet, even with everything that I have. Yeah, I don't have double green to do that with, and if I play the Harbinger, I never will. Alright, Harbinger's a later problem. I tried to sculpt a game around it, but it's just not there. And I'll put back Underground Sea as well. And then I am going to redraw the Sea, and then I'll shuffle away the Harbinger. And deploy my Frog. I can Fatal Push something that comes out of Aether Vial. That didn't happen. Good news. Bad news is that their 2-drops have escaped my Spell Snare. That one didn't. Ka-chow. Snaria. Interesting that they spent mana on that. That must mean they have a different, higher impact, better surprise 2-drop to put in through Aether Vial. Okay. White Orchid Phantom pitched to this. I don't have mana up for Dress Down. Okay, that's gone. Another 2 for 1 in the books. I'm going to fetch Basic Forest in my upkeep. Basic Forest achieved. Ice Fang Coatl. That is a game object I don't mind casting. I could also save that as a green card to pitch to Force. There's a lot going on all of a sudden. A Vial getting to 3 is really terrifying. Just checking that this wasn't like an enchantment land or something. It's not. It's just a land. It just has that MDFC border on it. That looks vaguely enchanting. I'm going to start with Brainstorm. Vialing in Aether Vial. If this is like a Bowmaster or a Spirit, I can dress it down. And now I do have 2 hits for Force of Vigor. Okay, that worked out pretty well for me. Harbinger of the Seas. Okay, I'm suddenly back to being interested in this. I'm going to put back the 2 Strixes and make my land drop. I'm going to Force of Vigor both of their permanents in their upkeep before Aether Vial goes up to 3. Smoke those. Okay, they're gone. Didn't vial anything in. 2 Strixes on top of my deck right now. White Orchid Phantom. Destroy target non-basic land. Yeah, sure. I love basics. This shuffles away my Strix. Oh, they're killing their own shit. That's smart. Yeah, I was about to ruin that for you. Okay, they flipped Witch Enchanter into Plains rather than fix my mana for me. I'm still not convinced that was right, but it was heads up and cool. Okay, fetch basic Swamp here. Play Baleful Strix. Or, nope, can't sequence it that way. Can't sequence it anyway. Shit. Alright, it's just not even there. Alright, I will play the Harbinger. Okay, enjoy those islands. Heads up destruction of your own land. I don't need to Fatal Push this. I have lots of life points to work with, lots of stuff to do. I'm more worried about a Stoneforge Mystic. Another White Orchid Phantom. Okay, they can flip their thing back into a Blades again. They didn't flip blue, so they don't have a 2-drop. Oh, Mountain. Yep, Mountain also legal. Okay, sick. We did it. Blue-black. Strix. And, ooh, I was going to play Tamiyo, but Psychic Frog's way better. But by we did it, I mean, I drew Tamiyo in a spot where they can't Caracas it, because Caracas is an island. Their hand is clearly spells that cost more than the mana they have. All right. What is the priority here? Probably Psychic Frog still. Yep. Okay. Frog's handled. I am taking damage. These things have first strike. I can't trade off with them. Assassin's Trophy, pretty good. All right, just handful of dope-ass spells to cast now. I don't think they'll block this. I'm going to attack. I should have attacked with both. I'm not blocking. I just missed a damage. Or no, I would block Skyclave. That's fine. No regrets. Tamiyo blocks like a house. 0-3. Giant Tookus on a 1-drop. That means that they can decide if they want to push 2 damage or hold this back and try to double block it, which my removal spells are very good against. They are going for combat mode. I am going to block. I go to 10. I'm still being super stingy with this Fatal Push. You just have way scarier cards than these. Alright, I mean, this works. Also can't Fatal Push it. What are we getting? Broadside Bombardiers, holy smokes. Glad I held on to this removal spells. I think I might push a White Orchid Phantom now, though, which means 2 damage. I didn't need to take this turn, but if they're going to be attacking that aggressively. Okay, I can attack with Tamiyo first. I'm going to hold back at this point. I feel like I'm ahead as long as I don't do something stupid that spews off my ability to have life points left. Ponder, or... yeah, I'm going to Ponder first. Then I can crack the clue and get... ooh, alright, 1-2, 1-2. I am going to crack the clue and flip Tamiyo, leaving up Assassin's Trophy. The Tamiyo Plus actually huge here, because they are just nickel and diming me for little damage, and then I can trophy the Broadside Bombardiers, which does unlock Yorion over a multi-turn line. But Tamiyo is ready to grab an instant or sorcery from my graveyard without dying. Vista from hand. Broadside Bombardiers. Beginning of combat, Assassin's Trophy, the Bombardiers, which does get them another basic, but that's okay. It's not really what the game's about. They have 1 good attack here, and they are putting the damage on Tamiyo. I could chump block with Strix if I want to minus and get a spell back. Fatal Push would get me fully stable. Getting back Assassin's Trophy actually kills... no, Push is the same. I could get back Brainstorm or Ponder. I know I'm drawing a land this turn, which is the problem. Okay, I'm just going to let it through. And then I can buy a spell and keep her around next turn. Well, not if they have Yorion. Okay, I should have actually chumped. Them getting Yorion there messed me up, and it shouldn't have, because it should have been predictable. Okay, I think I want... is it Brainstorm or Ponder? I think it's Brainstorm. I don't have the ability to shuffle because of my own card. Okay, Ponder. Frog, Deed. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Do not shuffle. I'm going to attack with both of these, and I'm going to play Deed and leave it up for 3. 1, 2, 3. Deed for 3 is live. I'm also at 3 minutes and 51 seconds on my clock. This has been super scrappy. I've been thinking a lot. Here come the attacks. Furnishes Deed, clear it out. They have 2 cards in hand, one of them's Yorion. I get a 2-2. I'm drawing Psychic Frog this turn. Unless I shuffle, which I might have to do because Psychic Frog just doesn't race Yorion. Though if they attack me for 4, and I attack back and draw 2 cards, I'm going to use my life total as a resource and play 2 Psychic Frogs this turn. Blue-black. Blue-black. Frog. Pass the turn. Cards versus damage, as Garfield intended. How they could start fetching some Elegant Parlors. Didn't want Marsh Flats. That's good for me. 1 card left in your hand. They tap mana, then untapped it. They have a spell. Ooh, just leaving Yorion back. Okay. I'm pretty sure my next card is a land, if I remember correctly, which I don't want at this point. I'm going to get another Underground Sea. Come on, good. Blue cards. Sheoldred's Edict. Each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature. They might have a flash creature here, but whatever it is, let's get rid of it. Alright. Attack with the frogs. I know they have some stuff with flash, and I can give these flying if I need to. So I'm leaving back the illusion, which might be playing too cautiously or might be brilliant. We'll never know. Okay. Ponder. Starting to do it. Turn it around. Holy smokes. Snapcaster Mage looks like probably just the best one here. I don't think my frogs will need more stats. I'm going to play my land. Snapcaster Mage is basically Demonic Tutor right now. The only thing that's not in my graveyard is a counterspell, and that's because I boarded them all out. Loran doesn't matter. 2-1, no abilities. And I'm drawing Consign right now. And I'm going to go flying by exiling a bunch of lands. Flying by exiling a bunch of creatures and enchantments. I have Murktide on top of my deck, which can win the game next turn very easily with the frogs. I am attacking this turn. They indicated to me they don't have a flash thing by not playing a flash thing. The Reharbinging. I don't think I want to Reharbinge here. Okay, I'm going to make a small looking Murktide. It's big enough, but my graveyard is still all spells. And I have Snapcaster and Consign to fight a fight if I need to fight one. 2 minutes left on the clock. I could even Consign, Snap Consign if they do 2 things. Flicker Wisp. That can resolve. And I'll see what they target and then consign the trigger. It's probably Murktide, though I don't actually care about that. No, I don't care about this either. You can have that. I'm not going to consign that. A Fatal Push doesn't kill anything here. Oh yeah, wait. It does, right? I am revolted. Yeah, permanent left my battlefield this turn. Okay. Snapcaster, Fatal Push, the Flicker Wisp. We're each drawing a card. I'll take it. Food for my frogs. Also, 1 less blocker, though my things could fly anyway. Pyroblast! Whoa! Opponent's a sicko. Good job. Alright. Well, didn't play around that. I don't think that I need to. I have... my creatures are not... No, I have lethal here one way or another, if I'm willing to dump in. Am I willing to dump in, or do I just play it out? I'm just going to play it out. I don't think I can lose if I play it out, except to my clock, which is kind of frustrating. But it's fine. Harbinger of the Seas, get back in there, just in case there's any bullshit going on. Then I just have a bunch of giant creatures, 2 counterspells in my hand. Okay, we did it. A combined 3 minutes and 55 seconds left on our clocks. This was awesome, Magic. This really takes me back to the Deathrite Shaman check pile era, and this was just kind of a matchup from another time. Maybe Legacy will settle back into something like this once we get some ban updates, but this was a really fun and satisfying matchup. Welcome to TopDeck.gg, your community's home for everything competitive Magic has to offer. If you're hosting an event, playing for a huge prize, or advertising your events to thousands of players, we've got you covered. Using intuitive pairing software, playing Magic is a breeze. Players just have to sign up online, then scan the QR code in-store. Give competitors the gift of perfect information as their bracket updates in real time. The self-reporting software saves you time and leaves paper match slips in the past. Leave the heavy lifting to topdeck.gg so your community can relax and focus on playing Magic. I'm on the draw in round number 3. I'm going to keep my hand, lands and spells, stuff to do. A little less comfortable with Flare of Denial in my hand compared to if this was Force of Will, so this is a testing moment for this deck and this strategy in general, this card, conceptually. Well, it's Grixis Delver, it seems. That Bloodstained Mire, I was immediately like, oh no, I've ruined my life by not playing Force of Will. But now that they're Delver, another matchup where I would board out Force of Will anyway. We'll see if Flare of Denial is any better, but I would definitely board out Force of Will here. As I draw Force of Will immediately. Yep, that's fair. Pass the turn. My deck does have a lot of removal in it, and it is quite good at dealing with random shitters with the 6 copies of Death Touch 1/1 that cantrips. However, I'm not looking at a removal spell or a Baleful Strix variant right now, anywhere. Nether Goyf has joined the battle. This thing really picking up in both Legacy and Modern play right now. I will take one from Dragon's Rage Channeler. Nile Spellbomb, you don't say. That card's not bad. It's good against both of the creatures they presented, and it just cantrips. Just thinking about how to sequence my lands here. I think I want to play Vista, fetch Island. I was going to brainstorm this turn, but now this is a cantrip that buys me a bunch of time. Okay, Spellbomb has resolved. I'm just going to fetch so they can't do any timing tricks on me. Can't Murktide with what they got. I would like to Spellbomb in combat, but I will Spellbomb as soon as they're threatening a Murktide. I think I can afford to take 3. Spellbombing there would save 2 life. Unless they have an instant, then it saves 0 life. Another Goyf. Alright. The Spellbomb is just a fog that's sitting in play like crazy. Orcish Bowmaster, a card I'm a little concerned about right now, but I do have Force of Will. I could play Frog and leave up Spellbomb. That actually sounds insane. Okay, playing Frog. I have 1 counterspell backup. They have 3 cards in their hand. 3 cards in the graveyard right now. If they slam a land and cast Murktide right away, like a non-fetch land, just mana source, they could get away with it. Okay, Channeler Surveils. I'm going to force pitching Flare here. If we're going to have a fight, let's have a fight before I Spellbomb. They force me back, pitching another Force. I'm going to let all of these spells resolve. And I'm going to Spellbomb in combat to take this from 7 damage down to 1. If they play an instant, that's an instant in the graveyard plus a Surveil, which could bring this back up to 5 damage. Looks like we're just taking 1, though. That was a nice little trick. Not out of this. They're just going to cast spells, but they are down to Hellbent. Like, whatever comes off this Ponder is the only card in their hand. I would love access to my basic Forest, so Coatl gets Death Touch. Do not shuffle Ponder. Start with Brainstorm. There's a Strix and a counter. I can't imagine this counter is actually good, but I also don't have any shuffles, so it doesn't matter. I'm going to put back Edict and Flare, and then just play Baleful Strix. And I did find a basic, which turns on Death Touch on Coatl next turn. Strix happens. Molten Collapse, disappointing. It is a sorcery, which means the Goyfs didn't get bigger. They did mill over a creature, though, so the Goyfs did get bigger. Another sorcery in their hand. Milled an instant. Okay, this is starting to get scary. I'm going to 5 on board. And if they ponder into Wasteland or Fetch Land, it's 4, 8, 11 on board. Okay, that did not seem to happen. Still a lot of damage. Gonna struggle to get through. Gotta come up with some removal quickly. I think I'm gonna Coatl first and see if I draw a useful card. That's not a useful card. Children's Edict. Each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature. And I'm gonna do this. Just gonna do it now. I sack the smallest creature, but it is the one that comes with card selection on it. If they just like Lightning Bolt Ice Swing Coatl here, they win. And they probably win on the following turn anyway. They brainstorm, look for my other Force of Will, which is my only out. All right. Yep. 3 1-drops that all smushed me, even through a fog that cantrip. That was really good. Alrighty, bringing in some stuff. Hydroblast is probably good enough. Basically, all these counterspells coming out, because that's just how these matchups work. It has nothing to do with whether it's Flare or Force. It has nothing to do with the construction of the deck specifically. It's just, they're not good. Okay, we did see Fatal Push and Molten Collapse. I think Veil of Summer is good enough in that world. Harbinger of the Seas. I think having 1 could be sweet, but we don't want more than that. And this is going to be my sideboard plan. And that was just a game where I kept a hand that was generically fine, but for the matchup, I would have certainly preferred 2 Baleful Strixes to 2 pitch counters in my opening hand, and we were just a little too far behind after having to brainstorm those bad cards away. 1 land with Tamiyo and Brainstorm. I'll try it. Island Tamiyo Keep. New motto. And the Brainstorm flips the Tamiyo. I'm getting after it. Polluted Delta, Underground Sea, Nethergoyf. All right. Mishra's Bauble. They're not done yet. Looking at my top card. Is it a land? Please be a Polluted Delta. It's an Assassin's Trophy. Gonna attack first, get that extra clue. And then big time read. If the opponent dazes this, we're in trouble. If they don't, we're at least playing the game. Cool. Lots of good cards here. Deed is good later. And I don't have a Bayou, so actually green or black here is a problem. I have to pick one or the other, and it's probably going to be black. Though if I pick green, I can run Coatls for a while. Okay, I'm going to put back Deed and Frog, plus Tamiyo, and I think I just leave this Misty Rainforest up and decide if I need to try to Fatal Push this, or if I want to get the Forest and start playing Coatls. Brainstorm. That'll make this 3 power, 2 when it attacks. Yeah, they are trying to put damage on Tamiyo. This does 2. That's fine. I'll just let them touch butts. They finish it off with a lightning bolt. This is disappointing. Okay, that's not what happened. Okay, I could get basic forest, or I could get tropical island. I think I get the basic forest and just risk being off a color. Hydroblast, not bad. Plus Tamiyo is the easy part. Now, do I ponder or Coatl? I think I ponder. If I can find a black source right now, we are just doing fine. Ooh. Ooh. Okay, they didn't daze me last turn. Moment of truth. Don't daze me now. Please resolve, please resolve, please resolve, please resolve, please resolve. Shattered. Well, I'm in a lot of trouble. And I'm drawing Brainstorm next turn after missing a land drop. Tamiyo is not dead on the board currently. If they get Delirium, she is still not dead. I guess the Delirium would add to Nethergoyf too. So if they get Delirium, she's exactly dead. They found it. Not even exactly dead. She's super dead. Tamiyo is being attacked for 5. It's going to work. Underground Sea, Nethergoyf. A Brainstorm is on top of my deck. It sees 2 fresh cards. Coatl is not going to have Death Touch, which means it's not good enough. I think I need to Brainstorm here. Missing that land drop, really bad. Brainstorm plus Ponder, didn't come up with it. All right, Brainstorm. 2 Lux, show me Basic Swamp. It's not basic, but I will take it. Put back these 2 trophies that are not going to help me for a while. And Fatal Push and Nethergoyf right now. I can Hydroblast DRC off of basic lands, so I'm trying to take out the thing that is both bigger and harder to kill for me with my Underground Sea while I have it. But we are once again, a couple days ago I played Jeskai Stoneblade with 8 basic lands in the deck, and we are once again seeing I'm just not able to cast my spells because my lands don't tap for mana. I could have gotten Tropical Island here, which, you know, maybe that's smart, but look, here's a Wasteland. Now we're back into this. 3rd Nethergoyf. And we are very, very dead here. I take 8. I can kill Dragon's Rage Channeler. And then I go to 1 versus Delver with 4 cards in their hand. Yeah, I can't win this game. Maybe Fetchland Decisions got me. Maybe Mulligan Decisions got me. Maybe Cantrip Sequencing got me. Maybe if I just wait to play around days with Carpet of Flowers and take the damage for a turn, we would have been better off. Finding land number 3 especially if it was basic swamp, would have made this game, I think, pretty trivial. But that did not happen. And that's the power of 1 mana, 5 power creatures. On to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables.
Good. All right, here we go, gang.
In this YouTube series, hosts Cedric Phillips and Patrick Sullivan take us on a set-by-set journey through the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a focused deep dive into the facts about a set's design and release, the Magic lore expressed through the cards in that set, Tournament Edition gameplay videos featuring products and Pro Tour decks of the era, an award show that shouts out the best and weirdest cards of the set, and a final grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Resleevables has it at youtube.com/theresleevables. On the play in round 4, another hand that has terrible mana and is full of flare denials. I'm going to mulligan this. I won't be fooled again. Okay, much better. Keep, and I think I'm going to get rid of Assassin's Trophy, and I will try to keep Flare available to me. Prismatic Vista go, because Vista would fetch black to cast Baleful Strix if I lead on Misty Rainforest, and this gives me the option of Fatal Pushing this turn. Opponent Underground Sea pass. Terrifying. Oh, well, that might make my life a little better. Basic Island, Nile Spellbomb, Emergency Brainstorm in response. I think we just blew out an Entomb Reanimate line. And it's in. Okay, that takes a lot of pressure off what the most messed up thing they might do is. They could just play Psychic Frog here, but I have Fatal Push. Dothy Voidwalker. Okay. I'm going to fetch in response just in case them having that land in the Void matters at any point. Voidwalker's interesting. Can't Baleful Strix that one. A Fatal Push the Voidwalker. You will not walk these voids. I don't really want another basic swamp in play. I'll get Underground Sea. If they wasteland me here, I have enough lands to play with. It's fine. Baleful Strix got dazed. Obviously, that was a possibility. Could have just waited. I kind of wanted it down, so I had a counterspell represented, though. Maybe I'm being too aggressive right now, and that whole turn was bad. I'd believe it. That's clever. I'm actually going to let them have this. Psychic Frog. Alright, Psychic Frog is in play. Or, it's on the stack. I'm holding back the cards in my hand because they could make Frog bigger. Basic Island, Ponder. There's nothing in the Void from the first Voidwalker. And Nile Spellbomb doesn't cantrip right now because it's when it's put into a graveyard, which won't happen with Voidwalker in play. But it does still exile a graveyard. It did not shuffle Ponder. They got another Ponder. Did not shuffle Ponder again. I have to imagine they can answer Psychic Frog. Or else, why didn't we shuffle the Ponders? Because this is the most important thing going on right now. Right. We're in my turn, which means I can hardcast Flare of Denial. That helps. Attack. Frog. Trust another Flare of Denial. That doesn't really help. They're fetching. This looks like hardcast Grief, maybe. Thinking about what 4 mana could represent. Cancel that. That does put a Flare in the Void, in case that matters. I am losing the race, but I am getting ahead on cards. Ponder. Let's do that first. Fatal Push. I like that. Okay, attack with Frog. I can push Voidwalker now. Brainstorm will come into my hand. I can push this, and I can still hardcast a Flare, and now Nile Spellbomb is back on in cantrip mode. Undercity Sewers. Wow, Ben and Atraxa straight up. The nuts. Hate that. Okay, I'm going to counter this Frog. I'm going to get Basic Forest. This rounds out all my colors. Counter the Frog. That worked. I didn't think it would. Okay, well, I don't get to draw a card, but you don't get an Atraxa. That's not a deal. Okay, that's clear. 2 cards in their hand to 2 cards in mine, and Psychic Frog's in play. Attack first, so I have more cards to brainstorm with. Coatl is nice. Blue-green Coatl. Brainstorm. Get some of these shitty lands out of here. play a land, play a Tameo, just be miles ahead. If their hand is Entomb Reanimate, that could catch them up here, but it has to be something as messed up as Entomb Reanimate. Fetch in the upkeep, don't want these bad cards. I'm just going to pile up non-basics now. I don't think they're going to win with a Wasteland at this point. Attack with everybody. Frog draws a card. Feel like they would have Bowmastered by now if they had one. I'm going to crack the clue to flip Tameo. Now I have Force of Will up. Feeling good. Tropical Island pass. Entomb in the end step. And this is where you're supposed to put your force if you have one. If their hand is 0 reanimates. Alright. They would need force and daze. I could hardcast force. I'm going to hardcast force. If their hand is reanimate daze right now, whatever, you got me. Okay. Maybe they got me. I can, if they do Archon this turn, I can have Icefang Coatl and Prismatic Vista go to the graveyard, and then I have Brainstorm and Tameo to try to fix the problem. They had the daze. Did they also have the reanimate? Into frog, or not a frog, a troll. Okay, yeah. They just didn't have the reanimate. They don't always have everything. It just feels that way when you're playing in Scam. Here come the jerks. Drawing a card, Spell Snare, that turns off Animate Dead. And I could use Tameo to buy back Flare of Denial. That actually seems great here. This Vista is good with my Brainstorm. Hard counter in hand, costs a lot less than 5. I can counter a Frog or a Bowmaster, any of that such nonsense. Drew a Frog plus Tameo. At some point, I should start discarding cards to make Frog hit harder, but I like all my cards. And I'm doing just fine. Sheoldred's Edict now in the mix. This is a good time for a Brainstorm. I don't need this land. Don't need any of these lands. Fetch. Get another island. Do I add a Frog here? If I add a Frog, I can still Flare, Snare. I have the same number of counterspells up. I don't get Sheoldred's Edict. I'll add a Frog. Okay, they're just hardcasting a force. That's fine. Get that out of the way. I'm not going to counter that. This Flare of Denial is on reanimate duty. Wasteland. Okay. I don't care. Another Sheoldred's Edict. And Frog just going to town. This is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They have 2 cards in hand. Nope, not going to risk it. I had lethal with counter backup, but I can also just do that next turn and not get blown out by a double perfect. Like it just 2 fatal pushes. Mind twists me there and also kills my Frog. When instead I could just not lose to anything. Spell Snare 2024. Bow, 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 bow. We got another one. Sick. And that's the card that got the concession. Okay. We won game 1 versus Scam. That doesn't happen very often with any deck. And we've seen this plan before. And I still believe it to be correct. Counterspells just aren't good. For the 4th consecutive match. Carpet of Flowers in my opening hand. I'll keep on the strength of that. The other cards are good too. I could shove into this. If they daze, yeah, I'm not going to let them daze. I will play around it, even though they're a discard deck. They're a discard deck and they're a daze deck. You just can't get them anywhere. Cycling Troll. I can kill a Troll if they reanimate it. Got Basic Swamp. There it is. Reanimate resolves. You've got a Troll. 6/5. Ponder. And they shuffled their Ponder. Okay, Basic Island. Fetch for Basic Forest. Play Carpet of Flowers. And I'm gonna cast a Psychic Frog this turn. The important card in my hand is Sheoldred's Edict. But if Psychic Frog resolves, I'm also happy about that. And I have 3 of them, so I'm also not that unhappy if it doesn't resolve. Alright, I was smart to play around Dazed last turn. And that also picks up their island, which they could make the tactical decision not to replay. Which they did not do. Okay, another creature. I don't like that. That makes my Edict worse. We'll see how they want to play this out, though. They draw for turn. Make black. And I'm going to... Would I rather Coatl or Frog? That depends on what they sacrifice. I guess I don't have to choose yet. I do have to choose Yeah, I'm in the squeeze here. Okay, Shieldred's Edict. Or, no, Edict's more important for me to resolve. Each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature. Get rid of that. One of them. Got rid of the Frog, which means that Frog is better for me to play than Coatl, which was the correct sequencing. We're still behind. They still have 4 cards in hand. If they daze me again, could be in trouble. Alrighty. Next turn, I'll be at 6, and I have the ability to ponder into a removal spell. I think I have 3 removal spells in my deck that kill a troll. Oh, they reanimated a frog. So now I have 2 removal spells in my deck that kill a troll. It's Assassin's Trophy or Bust, I think. Coatl. I'm actually going to decline the Carpet for now, because I don't know what color I need yet. None of these cards help. I'm gonna shuffle the Ponder. I could take the Brainstorm, but then that uses the mana, and we're just dead. Okay. I could handle a troll. I couldn't handle a troll with Double Daze. There are no additional answers to anything in my deck that are in the sideboard. Pernicious Deed for 6. Don't think we're going to get there. I will keep this hand. Plays on basics, has good interaction. Island Ponder. Ponder's got 3 more lands. I actually do not need these, which is a good feeling. Shuffled it back into the 1 of Basic Force anyway. Motobug. Basic Island, Ponder. Did not shuffle. Tamiyo. Okay, cool. I can play something without running into Daze. And I'm holding up Fatal Push, just in case. They don't have any haste creatures, though. I don't know why I would care about Fatal Push right now. I'm not going to play it into Daze. Even if they play a Frog right now, we'll go to my turn. And if they don't Frog right now, that's even better. Ooh, Leovold. That's for next turn. Right now I'm just going to attack and leave open Coatl plus Push. Or Clue Token plus Revolted Push. I hope to see Undercity Sewers off this fetch, but we saw Basic Swamp instead. Orcish Bowmasters. Not a card I've had to play against yet. It will resolve and I'm going to push it right away. Yeah, push that. And I'll play Coatl now that we know Bowmaster is a thing they might have. Surgical, nice, okay. Good sequence. That also doesn't mean they don't have Daze, just that they didn't Daze that, which are different things. If they have something more powerful to do this turn, they might just be holding on to Daze. Okay, attacking for 1 with Orc Army, that's fine. Icefang Coatl, the answer we need to Psychic Frog in this metagame. Spell Snare, okay. I have the option now to Surgical Extraction their like Bowmaster probably, to check their hand if they can answer Leovold. Or I could just play normal Magic and relax. I could also just play Leovold, and they would need Force of Will in their hand, which I can't deny them anyway. Yeah, I'm just going to cast Leovold and see what happens. Oh, if they have the Fetch plus Daze, they could do the trick. I didn't play around it, but I could have. That was a little sloppy. The trick is, if you have Daze and Wasteland, and your opponent taps out except for a fetch land, you can Wasteland the fetch, then when they fetch in response, Daze the spell. So I left a little bit of a bleed on the table there, but didn't get punished. Oh my god! They don't even know! Would you like to put 2 cards from your hand on top of your deck? Mind Twist! The children don't know about Leovold. Motherfuckers act like they forgot about Dre. Okay, they've put 2 cards from their hand on top of their deck for the price of 1 mana. Bowmaster plus Leovold is really funny, because they ping me, then I have the option to draw a card, which can ping me. I'm just going to Surgical, though. Let's have a look at what's going on over there. I'll shuffle those cards away for you. Right, Fatal Push and Reanimate are the hand. I think we're going to win this one. Psychic Frog completely under control by Icefang Coatl. A thing I hope I get to say in the future a lot, though. Orcish Bowmaster's probably not going anywhere. Okay, a second Tamiyo, which makes the first one worse. Just going to attack with this Tamiyo. Okay, is holding up Spell Snare important to me in my life? Or do I want to flip Tamiyo? I think I want to flip Tamiyo. On to Brainstorm, fetch, Basic Island, fetch, Tamiyo flips, plus that makes Orc Army and Frog both smaller. Okay, pass the turn. They can't, there's no creatures in graveyards for them to reanimate. They could Wasteland their own Wasteland, Fatal Push Leovold, and then try to reanimate it next turn. They're just a little short on resources to do anything really good here, though. They can't quite shove through Leovold by pushing the Coatl, especially with Tamiyo's help. They're going to try, though. Here they come. All right, well, this is going to cost you your whole hand to deal 1 damage and also not draw a card. Yeah, I'll just put my Death Touch creature on this. Fatal Push. Okay, so instead of discarding Fatal Push and getting a trade, we're letting me draw a card. All right. Opponent's in shambles. Maybe I'm just supposed to let that through and then it doesn't draw a card. I don't know. That felt like a good deal to me. Their hand is Reanimate right now. Tamiyo could pick up Fatal Push. How do I lose if that happens? I don't think it's possible. Tamiyo, get back Fatal Push. New Tamiyo. Tropical Island. And pass. Attack? Attack. Yeah, attack. Okay, I'm in there. I don't want to push right away because that also gives them a target for Reanimate. If they draw Entomb right now, that would actually be really good for them. Not in a good position to fend off Entomb Reanimate. I have a bunch of cantripping I could do. Try to solve it. Okay, 2 things, both attacking Tamiyo. I'm going to block the Orc Army because it's my plan to push the Frog anyway. Discarded a card. All right, here's the Fatal Push that you saw in my hand. Okay, that's dead. They're tapping on black mana. All right, yeah, let's resolve combat, and then what's going on here? Reanimate your Frog. Going all in to do that. I will draw a card with my Clue token, and then let you have a Frog. In all seriousness, Leovold and Icefang Coatl are both pretty good answers to Psychic Frog and what's going on over there. There's that one of Flare of Denial right under this Fatal Push. And attack with my creatures. Push the Frog. The Orc Army has 0 power because of Tamiyo. Oh, I was gonna... Alright, they're just done. I was about to say I'm gonna just tuck the Flare in my hand, but then Spellbomb covers most of my problems. Okay, so opponent struggled to get their head around Leovold a little bit there, but we did also just beat Scam, including taking a game 1. Happy to put that on the historical record. Onto the final round. We're a few rounds into the video. Thanks for sticking with me. Friendly reminder that if you're still here and having fun, smash that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, you can use my affiliate link for TCG Player to support the channel while you shop for cards, and you can try any deck anytime with a cardhoarder.com loan account for Magic Online. All these links are in the video description below. Now back to the league. I am on the play for the final round. Positive record on the line. I'm going to keep my hand. Bunch of basics, cards to cast. Done deal. The only question to me is whether I lead on Prismatic Vista, Swamp, or Island. Island represents Spell Snare, which only matters if they're an Ancient Tomb deck or a Storm deck of some variety, somebody that's cheating on mana. Leading on Swamp lets me Fatal Push if they're like a Elvish Reclaimer or a Cradle Control kind of deck. I wouldn't push into Daze if they're a blue creature deck, but if they're a non-blue creature deck, I would really like to have push up. If I play the Prismatic Vista and they end up having a creature, then I'm stuck with 2 swamps in play that I don't want. Misty Rainforest could just get Underground Sea or Tropical Island and cover the bases. Yeah, it's actually Misty Rainforest is going to be my land drop. Opponent said, hello, Hollywood. Everyone say hi to Kairos92. And if Hollywood is watching, hello from me as well. A mountain, okay. So this could be Goblin Welder. Dragon's Rage Channeler, basic mountain. Interesting. Bauble. I'm going to let the Surveil resolve and then probably cast Fatal Push. Yeah, I'm going to push this right now off of Underground Sea. Glad I left up the option to do different stuff here, because I would not have predicted Basic Mountain, Dragon's Rage Channeler, Urza's Bauble as a sequence from my opponent. They revealed Icefang Coatl at random from my hand with their Bauble. Another Bauble, so I feel good about pushing the Channeler. That would have been another cards worth of selection for them. I wonder what this is. Underworld Breach is banned in this format, so that's what it looks like from the modern shell, but that card is not allowed. Okay. Prismatic Vista is my access to green. I'm ready for a Goblin Engineer. Spell Snare it so fast. Emberheart Challenger, alright. We got a reader. Mouse Warrior, first Bloombow Uro card to appear on my entire channel. Haste Prowess. Whenever this becomes the target of spell or ability you control for the first time each turn, exile a top card of your library. You may cast it this turn. Spell Snare 2024. Bobble, okay. That's 3 damage I would have taken. You saw Underground Sea from my hand, so they no, 2 of my cards right now. Force of Will. I think I actually want to Coatl in the main phase. I have things like Ponder I might want to cast, or Tamiyo. Baleful Strix is sorcery speed, but doesn't help me here. Though it is also blue for force, if they do something I don't think I can beat. It would have to be really good, though, for this attacking creature prowess deck, for me to be worried about that through my wall of Death Touch X1s. I am going to commit to the basic Swamp, even though that does cut off some options, because I want Death Touch on the Coatl. I think I was just going to end up doing that regardless. What's the punish there? All right, Chain Lightning. Can't send it back. Don't have red. They got 5 cards in hand, though. I did just tap my blocker. If I die to some haster right now, they're going to deserve it. Okay, they plotted a Slang Bang Blizzard. Shout out to the BoshNRoll Discord community, who enjoy just making up names for that card whenever it shows up. I'm going to Force of Will this. I do have a creature that could block it, but I'd rather force this and it be gone than try to fight over every burn spell that's probably in their deck and beat it in combat. They did see that force off a Bobble, though, when I had 4 mana, if they had just played the Slick Shot. Obviously, hindsight, 2020, etc. But, okay, cool. I can flip Tamiyo right now and put Fatal Push in my hand. Play Tamiyo, play Ponder. This is my 3rd card. Harbinger of the Sea is not very good right now. Fatal Push in, Tamiyo, flip, plus that, play a Shuffle effect. And I think with Fatal Push in hand, I'm comfortable attacking again. Played Mountain, number 5. Seems like too many of those. More than you want in a game. Okay, I'm going to shuffle away the Merfolk. Edict, that's really good. Tamiyo could get back Force of Will here. Or Ponder. Yeah, I think I'd rather have Ponder back. And keep the good cards flowing. Unless I somehow get burned out here, I'm really good against creatures. And I continue being completely insane against creatures. Flare of Denial in hand. I will make my land drop. And this Coatl better deal 18 because I don't have any other plan right now. I just have a lot of answers. They're 6th mountain of the game. They're going for the high score. I want to see 9 mountains in play at the end of this game. Coatl's going to give you plenty of time to do it. Assassin's Trophy will help me get them to 9 mountains. Just going to plus Tamiyo and attack. This is a super reasonable ultimate Tamiyo game. My hand's nothing but answers. 7 mountains in play. Drawing another removal spell here. Tamiyo's up to 5 out of bolt range. I do have to win with damage eventually. I don't have any alternate win cons here, so Coatl's going to keep going. 8 mountains in play. Wow, 9 might have been conservative. Can we get to 11? We're drawing a new card here. That's a really good new card. And Tamiyo is now at ultimate for next turn. Coatl going in. And Frog plus Tamiyo is a one-shot. I can draw half my deck, then discard that many cards, or 13 cards, win the game. It's really hard for a mono red deck to beat Psychic Frog. Okay, they've seen enough now. Okay, mono red prowess seems to be what we're up against. Leovold's insane versus Baubles. Hydroblast is good versus red. I don't think they're going to try to Blood Moon me. Pernicious Deed seems great against their creatures. Dress Down can stop haste and prowess from happening for a turn. I didn't see anything good enough for Consigned to Memory. I'm not going to counter a Sling Bang Blizzard trigger. Harbinger of the Sea is definitely coming out. The Flares and Forces are interesting because they do take the pressure off early. I guess Flare doesn't do that, but Force does. But Flare helps stabilize in the mid-game. I might go 2-2, just the sampler platter of 1-for-2 counter spells. This is the important part of the deck here. My Psychic Frogs, my Death Touch blockers, my black removal. Here I go. Fatal Push, good. Psychic Frog, good. I'm in. Mountain. Mountain, go. Wow, what a treat. I'm going to lead on Polluted Delta just in case they are a Blood Moon deck. And I don't need to ponder here. My hand's already good. All right, Mouse Homie Warrior. I'm going to fetch the basic Swamp and push this Mouse. It's when it's targeted by a spell or ability you control, so I can push this without giving them a card. Goodbye, Mouse Boy. Are the mice on Bloomburrow really big? Or do stats scale to the environment? Because a mouse being a 2/2, that's the same size as a grizzly bear in Magic. What are we doing with that? Are we just ignoring it? Okay, I'm going to fetch Basic Island, which does deny me access to green, but does guarantee I can play the game if they Blood Moon. I showed them so many basics game 1 that I don't think they should have Blood Moon in, even if it's a card they have access to. However, people do weird stuff. I don't know. All right, the Slick Shot, Sure Shot. Bobbling me, they see Shouldred's Edict at random. You better deal 20 right now. I can block in an emergency too. Just jump the frog, jump, and jump. They're bolting my face. That's legal. I could also make frog a 6/7 and block this thing. But I think that's worse than just taking 5 and then killing it. And that gets blown way out by shit like Mutagenic Growth or Fire Blast. I'd be impressed if they come up with 10 extra damage here, but it's possible. Mutagenic Growth is 4, Fire Blast is 6. If their hand is exactly Growth plus Fire Blast, they win. That would be so sick. I hope those are their cards. Oh, Fire Blast confirmed. All right. I'm at 4. And we know against a known Fire Blast deck. Maybe I should have jumped the frog and been prepared to sacrifice or discard 1 card, just trade off and make sure I don't die. Okay, frog is attacking. Another Fatal Push. Okay, I'm just going to pass with a bunch of removal open. I'm at 4, and we know they have Fire Blast, and I don't have that many counter spells left in my deck. Slick Shot is a 3-power creature. Should I be playing around fling effects by just killing it before it gets a trigger? They've seen the Edict. Each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature. I'm just going to cast the least efficient thing that also they've seen. Many reasons to cast that spell this turn instead of any other one. They just saw Ponder. Yeah, although this frog is putting in work, I do think I should have blocked and just been prepared to discard 1 card last turn, because now I'm against the wall in a variety of ways. Frog, get in. Leovold. I can't crack this fetch, which means Leovold's uncastable. It also makes Ponder better than Brainstorm, because I can't shuffle. Spell Snare. I don't think that's what I want. I'm going to shuffle. Yeah, 1 life is not much to play with. Alright, Psychic Frog. Just hope their hand is bad, I guess. Second land. Lightning Bolt. Alright, yeah, I'm dead. Okay, yeah, I should have blocked. That was, I was thinking what the cost would be if I wanted to beat the Slick Shot in combat, and I wasn't thinking about what if I just want to absorb 5 to 9 damage, which is what I should have been thinking about. Okay. On the play now. Let's go. Hand's really good again. Keep it. And I don't think they're going to Blood Moon me, so I'm just going to play Underground Sea. Underground Sea plus Basic Forest does everything I need here. They could conceivably be a Wasteland deck. Haven't seen it yet. But it would kind of make sense in their shell. It would be devastating if they had it right now. I'm not going to lie. Did not play around it at all. Didn't even think about it until my land was in play. Mountain. Channeler. I'd rather push it in play and save my Hydroblast for the burn spells that we know they play. Okay. Basic Forest, start drawing cards is the plan. There's the Challenger. This doesn't have any combat abilities, like Trample or First Strike or anything. I think I'm just going to use a Coatl, get my cantrip, and chump block this thing. I'm more worried about missing land drops here than I am about this mouse right now. I could also just not block, but I'm gonna. We've seen free spells in the deck at this point. Yikes. Okay. Slightly concerning. If they could get 2 creatures under my interaction, that's actually a way that this falls apart for me. Channeler. Should I be pushing this mouse before they target it with something and get a card? Swift Spear, Channeler. Okay, I think I'm gonna do the same thing here. My next land lets me double spell and kill 2 things. Oh my goodness. Block the thing with more power. Okay, come on, land. Psychic Frog. That's real big. And I can't cast it because I have a forest in play. Holy shit. I'm gonna lose this. Okay. This is really bad. I could dress down in my end step, which turns off prowess, and just commit to taking 4. Yeah, I think that's how I absorb the most damage here. What a mess. And it's so good, I just can't cast them. Which is the mono red way. I am 14 cards into my deck now with 2 lands. I played 20 of them. They plotted a slick shot. I take the 4 that I committed to. Come on, land. Land. Oh my god. Brainstorm is risky, but I think necessary here. Any blue or black mana makes this a wash and makes my future turns better. Ah! Well, I just fell to the floor in disgust. 18 cards into my deck with 2 lands. And now we're basically dead. And I'm brainstorm locked. I can't kill these things. If I force of will the slick shot, I still take minimum 4 next turn. They still have 4 cards in hand. What a disaster. Yep, I'm going to concede. Yeah, just finding 1 land literally anywhere in that game would have made it trivial, but instead we lost. Okay, a 2-3 record. There are some lessons here about including too many basic lands in your legacy deck, especially if it's 3+ colors. Like that basic forest, it made a lot of sense at the time that I fetched it, and it cast 2 Coatls, which drew 2 cards, but if it was just Tropical Island instead, I would have been able to Fatal Push plus Hydroblast on an earlier turn, not be under any pressure, and stabilize. But it came off Prismatic Vista, so I didn't have a choice. I had to pick one. As far as the actual structure of the deck goes, mana base aside, that's a generic legacy lesson, deck building lesson. In terms of the Flare of Denial thing that was being tried, I think this was as well supported as it reasonably can be. We had some cool Flare of Denial moments, sacrificing cards that had already drawn cards. We had plenty of games where we got into 5, 6, 7 mana and we're just casting Cancel, which is a perfectly fine card at that point. The critical mass of forces and flares, plus more forces in the sideboard, I think that's just too much of that, because we did board them out in... We boarded them out entirely in 4 out of 5 matchups, and we cut some of them in the 5th matchup. The trick is that Force of Will is not a good deal. You generally don't want to spend 2 of your cards to answer one of your opponents. It's only a good deal if the card that you're countering is worth way more than 2 cards. And generally that means it's going to kill you, which means it's worth infinite cards because you're dead. And just adding more of that to a deck doesn't necessarily make it a better legacy deck. One bold thing that if we're experimenting with the counterspell suite, one thing you could do, which is not what this deck is for, and I'm just talking about something completely different at this point, sideboard all of your Force of Wills, play 0 Flare of Denial, and just focus on Spell Snares and Spell Pierces, Consign to Memory, Veil of Summer. Play main deck 1 mana soft counters, and only board in Force if you need them. And a lot of those 1 mana soft counters, especially in the case of Veil or Consign, are still really good against Storm and Thassa's Oracle. But all that is a conversation for a different deck on a different day. As far as today goes, this was a pretty good support of Flare Denial. I don't think Flare Denial is something that we want to support, but if you want to do it, this was a reasonable execution of that. Also, maybe the deck just needs another land, or we can turn 1 Trop, 1 Sea into 1 Hedge Maze, 1 Undercity Sewers, and then we have a little selection built into the 20 lands that we do have, and still have access to the non-basics if we want them. Very fun deck. Play patterns that I enjoy. Simcha, I hope you can make it work. Everyone, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, check out the Patreon, and I'll see you next time.